Hi, this is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? So in today's football results video, we'll be looking at a couple of leagues across Europe and the Americas and some in Asia, and catching up on all the latest scores. We had the FA Cup matches this weekend in England, so we did have some midweek matches, so we'll look at those. But just to recap, the FA Cup matches coming up are Southampton, Arsenal. Oh wow. Chelsea have got Port Vale, the lowest ranked team still in the competition. Big match between Man City and Liverpool, the last two winners of the Premier League. And then West Ham just got through tonight. They go against Leeds, so big chance for both of those to be in a semi-final. Well done Southampton as well, the second lowest team to make it, and 4 of the top 6 in England in the Premier League have made it. Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City and Liverpool, so we'll see who wins that. Okay, Premier League. So as I said, we had fixtures midweek to replace the fact that we didn't have any on the weekend. They came on Tuesday, Wednesday, and one big one on Thursday, which I watched. Tottenham fans turn off at that point, I think. Bournemouth, Brentford 0-0. Everton, Burnley 2-0 to Everton. Tarkowski and Dewsbury Hall. Tarkowski, of course, scoring against his old club. Surprising loss at home from Leeds against Sunderland with a penalty. Very harsh penalty on Ampadu in the box, obviously. Wolves beating Liverpool. That is an unbelievable result. I still think it's probably too late for Wolves to stay up, but if they'd had Rob at the beginning of the season being their manager, I think they would easily survive, because they're playing some outstanding stuff at the second. They've just beaten Aston Villa. Now they've beaten last year's champions Liverpool 2-1. Goals from Gomes and Andre to cancel out Salah's goal. Then on Wednesday we saw Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 4. Aston Villa were in it at the beginning, and they had a goal ruled offside by like a toenail or something. And then Chelsea just kind of just blew them away. It was a hat-trick from João Pedro and a goal from Palmer. Aston Villa were chasing the game at that point. And yeah, it was a very different end to the game than it was at the beginning, but very impressive from Chelsea all the same. Concerning blip from Aston Villa now. Arsenal beating Brighton with a single goal, this time from Saka. It is the stuff that makes champions, I guess, you know, winning even when you're not playing particularly well. On that note, with Harry Wilson injured, and God, I hope he's better for the Wales matches coming up. My absolute nightmare scenario that he misses those. He's got an ankle problem, and Fulham look very sort of toothless without him, actually. West Ham beating them, another goal from Somerville. This game was topsy-turvy, though. Lots of crazy things happened up and down the pitch. So, yeah, in the end, Somerville getting the very important winner for West Ham. We'll see why it's important in a moment. And then outstanding draw from Nottingham Forest, 2-2. Semenyo and Rodri with the goals, but Gibbs-White are totally against the run of play. And then Anderson with a goal at the end. I bet Arsenal fans were celebrating that. In fact, they were in the stadium when they heard the result come through. And another crazy midweek result, which you often get in the Premier League. 2-1, Newcastle beating Man United even with 10 men. Absolute stunner from Osula at the end, but another goal from Gordon. He's very good at penalties. Casemiro again with another goal, but Man United just weren't at the races. They didn't actually deserve it. And talking about not being at the races, wow. I am really worried about Tottenham. They haven't won a game in 2026, and they are the worst team in the Premier League on form at the moment. It's quite worrying because Crystal Palace obviously are struggling as well. So they thought they'd scored. It was given offside correctly. Slanky run down the other end and scored. Then Saran at the other end got a penalty, scored. Scored again, and Strand Larsen scored again. So at half time it was 3-1. Because Van der Ven got sent off needlessly, totally needlessly. And I don't get the formation. I don't get what they're trying to do. That's not something... They're talking about sacking the manager Igor Tudor already after 3 matches, but I can totally see why. He's not... I don't think they brought him in thinking they were going to be in a relegation battle, but in the Premier League, 3 games is a lot of time. 9 points can put you in mid-table or in the relegation zone. And all of a sudden, they got this guy who's coming who's trying to play like a back 5. Oh, I don't even know what he's doing, to be honest. A back 3, but playing Paulinho in defence. And playing like Gallagher out wide as a wing back. Oh god, I don't even know what he's doing. Yeah, and Gray plays in about 5 positions. Played and was the best player on the pitch. He created the goal. It was a really good goal. Playing Porro in defence, even though he's a fantastic crosser of the ball, I just don't get what he was doing. Vicario had another stinker. Oh, yeah, it was awful, but brilliant for Crystal Palace, obviously. Sarr looked absolutely fantastic. Strand Larsen looked superb. A shame that my guy Brennan Johnson didn't get more minutes, but there we go. Gesson had a rare off day. He's been doing brilliantly for them recently. Wharton's passing was just superb. And yeah, it was really awful, seeing the stadium emptying at half time and people booing and stuff is just awful. No team is too big to go down, so they need to be extremely careful. Let's look at the table then. So Arsenal at the top now, 7 points, but having played a match more, and there's a game between these two coming up in the Etihad quite soon. Man United, despite that loss, in 3rd. They've got Aston Villa next. That'll be an interesting game because both teams are pushing for this top 4. Chelsea got Newcastle next, so not easy for either team. Liverpool have got Spurs next, so where are Spurs going to get points from? Brentford still up there. Everton doing brilliantly. Bournemouth, Fulham, patchy form for them. Sunderland, Newcastle, Crystal Palace now 3 wins out of 5. Brighton, Leeds, 2 losses in a row, but they got Crystal Palace next. Spurs in 16th. Look at that. Loss. If they could just get a couple of draws, they'd help themselves out, but they don't even look anywhere close to getting a draw at the moment. Nottingham Forest 17th. Only 2 points from 5 games there. And then West Ham doing brilliantly. Look, 1 loss in 5, 2 wins, 2 draws. Only a point away now from Nottingham Forest, 2 points away from Spurs. And then Burnley much further behind, and Wolves much further behind as well. But obviously they've got excellent form at the minute. So that's the Premier League. Okay, I promise I won't forget the French Ligue this week. Sorry about that last week. Don't know what I was thinking. Coventry City, look at that. They've got to be going up, haven't they? It will be lovely to see that as well after what's happened to them. Middlesbrough also doing really well recently, so they're firmly in 2nd place. Millwall doing brilliantly. They almost deserve to go up too. Ipswich, Hull and Wrexham obviously did excellently in the FA Cup against Chelsea. Really should have. The sending off was very harsh. Derby, Southampton, Watford, Bristol, Sheffield United, Birmingham, Preston, Swansea up now after another home win. Another Jan Botnick goal and Liam Cunlin goal from just inside the opponent's half, getting us a win at home against Stoke City, who were just below us. Very unfair red card to them on the weekend. Queen's Park Rangers in 16th. Norwich, Charlton, Portsmouth, Blackburn, West Brom, then Leicester, who got 3 draws out of 5, Oxford, who got 2 wins out of 2, and Sheffield Wednesday down the bottom. Okay, quick check on League One. Lincoln City at the top, Cardiff now in second after 2 losses in 5 games. Bolton, Bradford, Stockport and Huddersfield at the top. Reading just outside, as are Stevenage. League 2, Bromley at the top. Wow, really? Milton Keynes in second, Cambridge in third, Notts County, Swindon, Salford and Grimsby, with Chesterfield just outside. Women's Super League, Manchester City are top by a mile, Manchester United in second and Chelsea in third, Arsenal in fourth, Spurs in fifth. And then the Premiership in Scotland, Hearts are still top. They've won their last 2 games in a row now, which Celtic and Rangers haven't managed to do. Celtic have also got Motherwell next, but Motherwell had a bit of a shock loss on the weekend. Hibs in 5th and Falkirk in 6th. Recent results then from Scotland. So Saturday, Hibs in Dundee 3-all, Falkirk beating Killie 5-1, Hearts beating Aberdeen 1-0 with a goal from Braga. Oh, I think I did this last week. Oh yes, so Rangers Celtic, we've done that one. Dundee St Mirren 2-1, Celtic beating Aberdeen away 2-1. I think they're in a bit of trouble, Aberdeen, aren't they? Not doing very well at all. Dundee FC beating Motherwell. Yogan and Robertson with the 2 goals. And then that was that. And then the Cymru Premier, TNS are champions officially. Connors Quay, who they just beat, are in second. And Llanelli have gone down already. Bala are looking like it too. Northern Ireland, Larne are still top with Glentoran in second. Coleraine and Linfield in the top. In the top 4, and Glenavon down the bottom. Although they've won 2 of their last 3 games, that's very good. Haven't lost in 3 games. Catching up on Crusaders. Okay, to the MLS then. New York City are top of the Eastern Conference. Nashville in second, Inter Miami in third, now with 2 consecutive wins. Red Bull with a loss dropping down to 4th. And in the Westerns is San Diego with 3 wins, but also with 3 wins are Vancouver, Los Angeles and San Jose Earthquakes. Seattle Sounders in 6th and LA Galaxy in 8th. Recent results then. Atlanta 2, Salt Lake 3. Charlotte 3, Austin 1. Columbus and Chicago 0-0. Philadelphia losing at home to San Jose. Goal from Buda 1-0. Nashville beating Minnesota. Sporting Kansas losing at home to San Diego. 1 goal from Drea. St. Louis 0, Seattle 1. Goal from Rienzi with the winner there. Colorado hammering LA Galaxy 4-1. LA Galaxy are getting a red card as well. 2 goals from Navarro. LAFC 1, Dallas 0. They had a very good start to the season. Martinez with the only goal. Portland losing at home heavily to Vancouver 4-1. Goals from White, Blackman and Berhalter. For the away team, Montreal beating Red Bulls 3-0. Wusun 2 from Carmona. And then Cincinnati losing home to Toronto. Saloy with the only goal. Okay, to Deutschland and the Bundesliga. So Bayern are still top, Borussia Dortmund still second, Hoffenheim and Stuttgart make up the top 4. Then Leipzig, who have not lost in a while, and Bayer Leverkusen in 6th. We have Augsburg in 9th, they've got Dortmund next. Hamburg 1, so they are firmly in mid-table 10th. Borussia Mönchengladbach and Werder Bremen still looking dangerously at the bottom. Look how close it is. So from them, 25 points, 25 points. Cologne have 24, Mainz 24, St. Pauli 24, and then Wolfsburg 20. They're looking as if they're going down now. 1 draw in 5 matches. Heidenheim very much so, 14 points. And they got Frankfurt next, and they've got Hoffenheim, so I don't see any points coming this weekend. St. Pauli, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places, but only 1 point between them. That is scary, and some really big clubs could go down this year in the Bundesliga. Friday, 4-1 win for, I say, champions-elect at this point, Bayern Munich, with goals from Musiala amongst others. Heidenheim 2, Hoffenheim 4. They're doing really well this season, Hoffenheim, aren't they? Freiburg, Leverkusen 3-all, Mainz, Stuttgart 2-all, Leipzig beating Augsburg 2-1, and Wolfsburg losing at home to Hamburger 2-1. 2 penalties, Vuskovic and Dompe, and another penalty from Eriksson for Wolfsburg, 3 penalties. And then Cologne losing at home to Dortmund with 10 men, Kaminski with a late goal, not enough to cancel out Girassi and Bayer. And then St. Pauli Frankfurt 0-0, and Union Berlin losing at home to Werder Bremen 4-1. Serie A, Inter did lose the derby of Della Madonnina on the weekend against chasing Milan, so it's not over just yet, but there is still a 7-point gap. Milan have Lazio next, Inter have Atalanta, who have started to lose points. Talking about losing points, Roma lost surprisingly on the weekend against relegation-threatened Genoa. Of course, Daniele De Rossi is their manager, our ex-superstar player and former manager as well, meaning that Como, who are our next opponents, go ahead of us in the table. So are we going to mess it up again and lose out on Champions League? It looks that way, doesn't it? Juventus also only 1 win in 5 matches, are in 6th. And Bologna with a surprising loss on the weekend as well. Lazio did win though, they're in 10th. Genoa, as we spoke about, have won as well, taking them away from the relegation zone. Fiorentina are in 17th, but down the bottom are Cremonese, Verona, who just won a match, and Pisa as well. Latest results, Napoli beating Torino 2-1. Santos and Elmas with the goals for the home team. Como on just a fantastic run at the moment. Baturin and Acuna with 2 goals to beat Cagliari away 2-1. Atalanta, Udinese 2-all draw. Scamacca with 2 goals, remember him, West Ham. Juve beating bottom side Pisa 4-0 for a very opportune turnaround of fortunes after a very bad run, both in Europe and domestically. Cambiaso, Thuram, Yildiz and Boga with the goals. Lecce beating Cremonese 2-1, Bologna losing at home to Verona 2-1, Fiorentina Parma 0-0. We spoke about the Genoa-Roma match, Messias and Vitinha with the goals, and Andika with a header from a corner. And then Derby della Madonnina, Milan beating Inter 1-0 with a goal from Estupinian, former Brighton player. And then Lazio getting the win over Sassuolo, 92nd minute winner from Marušić. Eredivisie in Netherlands, PSV are still top, obviously. They're not going to get caught. Feyenoord second, Nijmegen moved back up to 3rd. Twente in 4th, and Ajax dropping now after no win in their last 3 matches. They're in 5th. Alkmaar, Rotterdam, Sparta Rotterdam and Heerenveen are in the top 8. Utrecht just dropping out, even though they're in good form, not as good form as Heerenveen. And Groningen finally won a match. They've lost about 6 in a row up to this, and it was against Ajax. I mean, so unpredictable, Ajax. So Utrecht couldn't beat bottom side Heracles on the weekend 0-0. Saturday's matches, Groningen beating Ajax 3-1, Van Bergen and Zavada with 2 goals. Davy Klaassen with the 1 goal for the Amsterdam team. Eindhoven beating Alkmaar 2-1, own goal from Irishman Parrott and a goal from American Pepe. Heerenveen beating Excelsior 2-1, Brouwers and Van Overheim with the goals. Sparta Rotterdam's Volley 1-1. Fortuna Sittard 1, Telstar 4, well done to them. Go Ahead Eagles 1, Twente 4. Feyenoord drawing with Breda 3-3. Goals from Ueda, 2 more for the Japanese Ueda and 1 for Valente. Nijmegen beating Volendam 3-0. Le Breton, Unal and Wayasa. And that was that. The Canadian Premier League has not started back yet. Ligue 1, look, I promise I won't forget it, sorry. Je suis désolé. Paris Saint-Germain just at the top, but they lost their last match and they're only 1 point now ahead of Lens, who are chasing for Le Championnat. Marseille now moving up, good run of form under their new manager, to 3rd. Lyon, no win in 3 for them, so they dropped down to 4th. Rennes on a 4-match winning streak. We'll see their recent result, it was good, in 5th, and Lille are in 6th. Monaco now 4 matches won in a row, they're trying to catch up. Strasbourg in 8th. Brest, Lorient, Angers, Toulouse, Paris, Le Havre and Nice above the drop zone, 5 points above Auxerre. Nantes, who've got Paris Saint-Germain next, in 17th, and Metz down the bottom on a 4-match losing streak. Friday night saw Monaco go on that excellent run and beat Paris Saint-Germain in Paris. Barcola with the only goal for the home team. Akliush, Golovin and Balogun with the goals for the away team. Angers beating Nantes 1-0, Auxerre Strasbourg 0-0, Marseille beating Toulouse away from home, local derby, with a goal from Greenwood. Lens beating Metz 3-0, Abdouhamid, Thauvin and Haidara with the goals. Brest beating Le Havre 2-0, Lille-Lorient 1-0, Nice losing at home to Rennes 4-0, Le Paul, Szymanski, Blas and Mukiele with the goals for the away team. Big win. Very worrying for Nice though. Lyon, Paris 1-1. Tolizo with a 96th minute equaliser penalty to cancel out Munetsi's goal. Paris are doing pretty well this year, aren't they? Okay, A League. Newcastle Jets now 4 points ahead at the top, but they have Auckland in the next match, so Auckland can catch up. Sydney still in 3rd, Adelaide, Melbourne and Central Coast, with Western Sydney Wanderers surprisingly at the bottom, just above Wellington Phoenix. And then off to Spain, La Liga. Barcelona still top, 4 points ahead of Real Madrid after they had 2 losses in a row, but they're back to winning ways. Atleti back up to 3rd place now, Villarreal down to 4th, Real Betis in 5th, Celta Vigo in 6th, but finally lost. Espanyol haven't won in 5, so they're dropping down the table. Real Sociedad in 8th. Then Getafe, Athletic Club, who were on a brilliant run but went up against Barcelona. Osasuna in 11th, Valencia now with 2 wins on the trot and 3 wins out of 4. That's very encouraging, with Oviedo, their next down the bottom, number 20, their next opponent. Rayo Vallecano, Sevilla in 14th, Girona, Deportivo Alavés, Elche, then Mallorca. Levante was starting to pick up some points, and Real Oviedo down the bottom. Friday night saw a very good Celta Vigo team beaten at the last minute by Valverde on the 94th minute. Iglesias with a goal for the home team. Tchouaméni with the equaliser before that Valverde winner. Osasuna Mallorca 2-2 with 2 red cards. Levante 1-1 with Girona with a red card. Atleti beating Real Sociedad 3-2. Another goal from Sörloth, 2 more from González to cancel out Soler and Oyarzábal's goals. Respectable loss at home by Athletic Club against Barcelona. Lamine Yamal, of course, with the only goal. Villarreal beating Elche 2-1. Getafe beating Real Betis 2-0. Sevilla, Rayo Vallecano 1-0. The highlights of this match are absolutely insane. Valencia beating Deportivo Alavés 3-2. Deportivo Alavés getting 2 red cards. They went up against the run of play on the 3rd minute from Argentinian Boye with a very lucky penalty. I don't think it was a penalty personally. Then Javi Guerra scored a lovely goal. Then Deportivo Alavés scored another through Boye with a header. Oh no, actually that one was ruled offside, so they had another goal, but that was ruled offside. Then Chumert scored in the 90th minute and Duro in the 99th with an even more fortunate penalty. I don't think it was a penalty either. But as a Valencia supporter, I don't mind too much, sorry, Alavés. So yeah, 3-2 win in a very topsy-turvy match. One thing that Valencia aren't at the moment is boring. They have been boring most of the season, but at the second it is getting a little bit more adventurous. And then Espanyol, Real Oviedo 1-1. So Espanyol doing so poorly at the minute they can't even beat bottom team Real Oviedo. In Turkey then, Galatasaray are top, Fenerbahce still second, and Trabzonspor third, with Besiktas losing ground on catching them up. It looks less and less likely now. Down the bottom are Fatih Karagümrük, as well as Kasımpaşa and Kayserispor. Sweden hasn't started back just yet. Serie A in Brazil, after that big fight in the cup final that I heard with 24 red cards. Palmeiras are still top after just 4 matches. Sao Paulo in second. Joint top, Corinthians. Bahia, still doing well. Fluminense and Atlético Paranaense in the top 6. Flamengo still in 11th. And Atlético Mineiro in the relegation spot. No. As well as my second favourite, Internacional. Cruzeiro as well. And Vasco da Gama, some massive teams. Could be relegated, but it's only 4 matches in, so let's not panic. Yeah, those matches were from before the last video, so no new matches in Serie A because of the cup. Premier Division in Ireland going ahead. Bohemians unbeaten are top. Shamrock Rovers now in third. St. Pat's in second. Shamrock Rovers just drawing with Shelburne. Away goals from Wood and Martin for the home team, McGovern and Watts for the away team. And before that, St. Pat's beat Shelburne away from home in Shelburne, so Wood with 2 goals, but for the away team, 2 from Edmondson and 1 from Mata to win it in the 92nd minute. The Extraclasa continues to be the weirdest league in Europe this year. So top team Jagiellonia Białystok, last time we had a video, hadn't won in a little while. Now they've lost. So they haven't won in 4 matches. And Zagłębie Lubin have just gone top. Now they've only won the top division twice in their history. The last time was like in about 2006 or so, I was looking. 2006, 2007. So could they snatch it? Wow, that would be very unusual. 41 points now. They do have a clear lead, but Jagiellonia Białystok have a game in hand, so they can go back to top. Lech Poznan in third, Raków Częstochowa in fourth. Still very tight though if you look. So 38 points at the moment get you second. So Górnik Zabrze, who were on a terrible run, if they actually could just win a match, would go second even though they haven't won a match in over 5 games. Cracovia also haven't won a match in 5 games, and they could easily get... Oh, actually, they're starting to drift now. Wisłopok in 8th, Lechia Gdansk in 11th, and they've had a couple of points taken off and they would be up there in 6th otherwise. And Legia Warszawa have won, and that means that they've actually not lost in a while. So they're starting to pick up points. I would be hugely shocked if they were relegated, to be quite honest with you. Widzew Łódź and Termalica Nieciecha are down the bottom. Liga Professional. Vélez Sarsfield, this is Argentina of course. Our top, Estudiantes Unión Independiente, Boca in 6th, and that's in Group A. Group B, Independiente Rivadavia, Tigre Belgrano Rosario Central, Racing Club in 6th, and River Plate in 7th. Games going on all week, but Boca did win their match 3-0 away to Lanús, with goals from Ascasibar and Merientiel, 2 goals from him. Racing beat Atlético Tucumán also away, 2 from Vergara and 1 from Solari. But River Plate could only draw with top team Independiente Rivadavia, Rios for the home team, Montiel for the away team. Big rumour going round for Roma fans that La Joya Dybala could go to Boca Juniors this summer. I would hate to see him leave, but it would mean that I would try and catch all of Boca's matches if Dybala was playing for them, to be honest with you. So, okay, Liga MX in Mexico. Cruz Azul still top after 10 games. Toluca in 2nd. Chivas in 3rd. They've just got over their little hump. They're back to winning ways. Pachuca, Pumas, Tigres just won a very big game. We'll talk about that in a second. Atlas and America with Monterrey in 9th. And Santos Laguna down the bottom. So they won the Battle of Monterrey. Tigres won with, yes, 40-year-old André Gignac winning the Frenchman, winning the match with a goal in the 91st minute. Is it André Gignac? I think it is. Is it André Pierre or something? André Pierre Gignac, yes. Is he 40 or 39? 40. Cruz Azul beating San Luis 3-0. Universidad Nacional beating Necaxa away with a goal from Martinez 1-0. Club America getting over their losing streak. 2-1 winners against Querétaro away. Avila for the home team, Rodriguez and Salas for the away team. Okay, and a quick tip to the European leagues. Portugal. Porto are still top, but they've drawn a match. Sporting are 2nd. Was that between each other? Oh no, it was Benfica Porto. Wow, look at that. Schelderup and Barreiro, Froholt and Petuszewski for Porto. So 2-2. And they could have caught up, but Sporting were against Braga and they also drew 2-2. Horta and Salazar, 96th minute penalty to draw it. Inacion Suarez, who's being coveted by lots of teams around Europe at the moment. I'll be surprised if he's still there next season. So Benfica in 3rd and Braga now in 4th still. Down the bottom are AVS Futebol SAD. Tondela and Santa Clara just above them. Belgium. Union Saint-Gilloise have gone quite a few games unbeaten now, but they're only 3 points ahead of Club Brugge. Sint-Truiden are still doing really well. Anderlecht, Mechelen and Gent still at the top as well. And Dender are down the bottom. Norway hasn't started back yet. Eladas, Greece, AEK Athens are top by 2 points over both Thessaloniki and Olympiakos. Panathinaikos a bit further behind in 4th. And then Panzerraikos right down the bottom. Premier League in Russia, Krasnodar are top 1 point ahead of Giants Zenit St. Petersburg, but the derby against Spartak next. Lokomotiv in 3rd, CSK 4th, Baltika 5th. Wow, they're doing well. And Spartak having a weird season in 6th, Dinamo in 7th below them. Sochi are actually down the bottom. Denmark, AGF are still top 4 points ahead. They won on the weekend. Midtjylland trying to catch them, but actually they get further away with their draw. And Sønderjyske, wow, they are in 3rd. There's a crazy topsy-turvy league this year. So as was pointed out in the comment section last week, relegation group is actually Copenhagen didn't even make the top group. That's how bad their season's going at the moment. Crazy upside down in Denmark. Over to Asia then quickly. K-League Bucheon are top. I haven't even heard of this club. Who are they? Anyang, Gwangju. And then Ulsan, after just one match, are in 4th. Seoul in 5th and Daejeon in 6th. My team Incheon down in 11th, unfortunately, with 2 losses. And in the J League, then in Japan, Kashima Antlers are top of the East League. Urawa Red Diamonds in 2nd, Tokyo in 3rd. Only 5 matches played. And in the West, Gamba Osaka, Nagoya Grampus and Kyoto Sanga. And then back to Europe briefly. Bundesliga Sturm Graz are top. Salzburg in 2nd. They've switched after results on the weekend. Lask are in 3rd, and they're on the same points as a 3-horse race. No, 4-horse race, because Austria Wien are in 4th. They're on 36 points. Wow, that is crazy. They've got Sturm Graz next. If they win that, they could go top from 4th. Rapid Wien are in 5th and Hartberg in 6th, with Linz down the bottom. And in Switzerland we still have Thun at the top, another win for them, so they, after a little wobble with the draw, are still doing brilliantly. Miles ahead of St. Gallen, Lugano and Basel just below them, and down the bottom are Winterthur. Czech Liga, Prva Liga, Slavia Praha are still top, 10 points ahead of Sparta Prague. Does that mean they beat them? Yeah, they did. 3-1. Khori with 2 goals, 1 penalty, and Chetil with the 3rd to cancel out Vidra's goal for the away team in the derby. So I think it's Slavia Prague's now. Victoria Plzeň, as usual, in 3rd spot. And down the bottom are Dukla Praha. Ukraine, Shakhtar Donetsk top, and Cherkasy in 2nd. Police Zhytomyr in 3rd, and Dynamo Kiev, but they've won 5 in a row, so they're catching up, are in 4th. Down the bottom are Poltava. And then the Saudi Pro League, where we can see Al Nassr are still top, but Ronaldo is injured and has come back to Europe for treatment. Al Ahly is in 2nd, and Al Hilal are in 3rd, with bottom team Al Najma. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, then click like, leave me a comment, let me know, particularly if you're a Tottenham fan, are you worried? Click subscribe if you're new, we do these every week. More videos coming soon, particularly for Champions League and Europa League, Conference League when they return. But for the time being, I'll continue to do these videos. I've got some Topps cards to open as well. So that video is coming very soon. And I got a new book to look at football stadiums, so we'll be checking that out as well. Don't forget I'm on Patreon too, support me there, and I'll see you all really, really soon. Take care. Bye, bye, bye.